Good Sunday morning and welcome to WGN-TV Political Report. I'm Paul Lisnick. With the general election mostly wrapped up, lawmakers in Springfield are turning their attention to the fall veto session. The legislature was in session for just a few short hours last week and won't return until after Thanksgiving. Movement on top priorities like a statewide ban on assault-style weapons and new protections for abortion rights have failed to materialize. Democrats are looking at a newly bolstered supermajority when a new crop of lawmakers is sworn in next January. Some are still hoping the lame duck lawyers will make tweaks to the controversial SAFETY Act before a provision eliminating cash bail statewide takes effect at the start of the new year. Others rallied inside the Capitol last week, encouraging lawmakers to keep the bill as is. I sat down with Illinois House Speaker Chris Welch to talk about that and a lot more. This is the first general election post Mike Madigan, and so the results, of course, look strong for Democrats. How will Democrats in the House use this even stronger supermajority?
Well, I think it was a mandate. This was a year where history said we were going to lose seats. There were people saying Speaker Welch can't raise money. Speaker Welch is going to lose 8 to 10 seats. We raised money, and we picked up 5 seats, net gain. This is the largest supermajority in modern history. And so I think that means people believed in our message and they're expecting us to deliver. And so we got to get to work. We're going to roll up our sleeves and we're going to deliver for the people. We're going to continue to build on our budget success. We're going to deliver for women who clearly, women's reproductive health is a big issue and that resonated with voters. And I think we need to take a good look at gun reform. Common sense gun laws is the order of the day. Especially after what happened in Highland Park and continues to happen in the inner city. So we got some big things ahead.
I'm going to pursue some of that with you in just a bit. First, let me just in a general sense here, Republicans, and say they're not listened to, they're not heard. So as you move forward, is it, to the victor go the spoils, so be it? Or is there a way you want to involve Republicans towards unity? What areas can you collaborate with them on?
As I've always said, I think it's extremely important that we work in a bipartisan way. We need to try to govern in the middle. And I certainly hope that Republicans have learned the message of this election, and that is that the electorate won't tolerate extremism. And if they've learned that lesson, we're ready to do the work with them. We're ready to sit down at the table and listen to everyone. We have to continue to move the state forward, and I think you do it best when you're working together and willing to compromise. What we have to bring back to politics and government is civility, respect, and the ability to compromise. And that's why extremism has no place.
So, lots of change in the Republican Party, both leaders out for the House and the Senate. In come Representative Tony McCombie and Senator John Curran are in. Talk about do you have relationships with them? How well do you know them?
Well, I've served with both of them the last few years. I think they're both honorable people. I think they're going to be great leaders for their respective caucuses. And I certainly, again, hope that they try to move toward the center a little bit. They're not going to get much done if they operate on the extreme. They will have a place at the table if they're willing to come and work toward compromise.
So work on the Democrats' agenda and they're welcome, but if not?
No, I didn't say that. Be willing to compromise. And when you're willing to compromise, we're not going to get everything we want either. But you can't be extreme, either side. Democrats or the Republicans, you move so much further when you're working together, and so that hand will always be outreached, and I'm looking forward to working with them both.
So we're going to get to some social issues, but look, inflation is still raging, making things uncomfortable for Illinoisans. The holidays are here. People want to buy gifts. They need to have turkeys and all sorts of stuff going on. It's not going to be easy or pleasant for people. Does Springfield have anything planned to try and ease the economic burdens as we get into these holidays and beyond?
Well, I certainly think the work that we did on this most recent budget, we're still in that fiscal year, the gas tax relief, the grocery relief, the property tax rebates. My wife and I just got ours last week. The $300 was welcomed in our household, and I'm sure in households all across the state. Are there more things that we can do? Probably so. But we need to sit down with the governor and all of the leaders and talk about those things. Those are the types of things I think we get to build upon because we've had such good success with our budget. We just saw a good 5-year outlook on our revenues. We know that revenues are there. Just like we did last year, because we had strong revenues, we were able to give $1.8 billion in tax relief back to the residents of Illinois. Maybe there's something like that we can do in the upcoming year, but that remains to be seen what it is.
Let me ask a little bit about the SAFE-T Act. Folks like the governor, Attorney General Raul, they say they're open to changes. There have been 3 trailer bills, but as you know, there's still a lot of calls from prosecutors and such that there's just an issue, lawsuit to deal with. What can we expect to see changed in the SAFE-T Act going forward?
Well, as we've said all along, Paul, that we were committed to making changes to the original bill. The original bill passed the same day I was elected Speaker, January 13th, 2021. Since then, there's been 3 trailer bills. When we adjourned in April of this year, I had a working group continuing to work on a 4th trailer bill. And I do believe that before we leave the second week of veto session, we will have something done. I think, there's a couple areas where there seems to be agreement right now. There may be a few other areas between now and the second week of veto session. One of those seems to be the transition period. That's in question right now. It's a little confusing. I would say the good state's attorneys that are acting in good faith, like Eric Reinhardt in Lake County, is preparing now to file motions for people he believes are dangerous to others or dangerous to the community, and he's filing motions now to make sure those people don't get out January 1st. The bad faith actors, because of the confusing language, are saying they're going to have to open the doors on January 1st and let everyone out. That's the type of thing we want to clarify. There's some language regarding whether or not judges can issue warrants from the bench because the language is confusing. I think we can clear that up. And there's a few other areas that our leaders are working on. They presented to our caucus earlier this week, but they don't have complete agreement on them yet. But they're working to get there. You
really put your finger on the issue, and it's the cash bail piece. And as you know, all during the elections, many Republicans saying everybody's getting let out. Democrats saying that's just not the case. Leader Durkin was on the show during that period. He goes, look, we're just, Democrats aren't being truthful about this. There are more bad people that are going to get free, that are going to be released. Do you have a sense of the control of that piece of this when the new year comes, and that's when it comes into effect?
Let me be clear. There is no purge law on the books. There's no purge law going into effect January 1st. And now that the election is over, you're hearing more states' attorneys readily admit that the cash bail system is archaic and wrong, that it's bad policy. Now, are there some things in that bill that are confusing and can be clarified? Absolutely. And that's what we're working to do, because everyone agrees that this is good policy, and we want to get it right. And we're going to continue to do that to get it right.
You mentioned guns a little bit earlier in our conversation. I said I'd get to it, so let's get to it. After Highland Park, obviously, a lot of people concerned about the status of thing. What can be addressed in veto, if anything, and then moving forward as it relates to effective gun use? I
don't think there's much we can do on guns in veto session. Anything we do in veto session is going to require 71 votes, a supermajority. I don't think we'll have supermajority votes in 2 weeks on issues like guns or further things that we can do on women's reproductive health. But are there some things we can do in January in a lame duck session or in the 103rd General Assembly? Absolutely. And we have a working group that's specifically identifying those items. Certainly one of my hopes and desires is an assault weapons ban. We don't need military weapons on our street. That gentleman, Mr. Creepow, had a military-style AK.
Highland Park, you're talking about.
Yeah, in Highland Park. We don't need those weapons on our street. We need to outlaw those. And I think that's one of the things that we can probably find agreement on pretty quickly.
Well, I was going to say, specifically, what will it take to get the assault weapons ban passed? I mean, what's the resistance?
Well, let me also clarify that if we want to pass something that's effective immediately, veto session, you would need 71 votes. I don't think we can get 71 votes on that.
New term.
January, we only need 60 votes. I mean, I think a assault weapons ban in January is possible.
Are you comfortable enough to say you think you can commit to getting an assault weapons ban on the governor's desk in the new term?
I certainly hope so. I'm going to work to make sure it happens because I think it's that important.
And any news on, we still need to strengthen pension plans? I mean, I know our credit ratings are up. There's been good economic news, but we still have pension plans concerned. What's on the agenda for getting a hold on all of that?
Well, I think that all falls within our good budget work. and we're going to continue to build on our budget success. So any work on the budget has to include talk about what to do with pensions.
All right, Mr. Speaker, thanks for your time. Good luck in the veto session. We'll talk to you in the new year as well. Thank you, sir.
My pleasure. Look forward to it.
Coming up next on WGN TV Political Report, Illinois' blue wave crashes over DuPage County. We're talking to party leader Ken Mejia Beal when we come back. And later, the dominoes start to fall in the race for Chicago mayor. Who's in and who's out as a big deadline looms on Monday. Don't go anywhere.